Who's going to order gunnery exercises on Christmas Eve? We're talking Magnum P.I. Hit it. It was 1980. A Magnavox VHS recorder averaged $699. A fire destroyed Las Vegas's MGM Grand Hotel. Millions of viewers turned into Dallas to learn who shot JR, and Tom Selleck was a private investigator in Hawaii. I'm your host, Jerry D, with another episode of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s. Toys, movies, specials, music, and fads. If it was gnarly during Christmas in the 80s, we got it covered. Now, joining me are two Totally Rad Christmas all-stars. You'll know them as the host of the Tubular Christmas Clatter podcast, the author of the Bodacious The Wonderful World of Nothing blog, and 2/3 of the radical Saturday Morning Mafia, Todd and Michael. Guys, how's it going?
Going well.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. How's your week been so far?
It's Thursday. So it's going.
Yeah, I working a lot of hours at my regular 9 to 5, so it's been crazy.
The overtime's pretty good, huh?
Oh yeah. The overtime has been good.
Good.
But starting to wear me out. It used to not bother me, but I'm feeling it in my older age now.
I definitely understand that.
Yep.
Most of the season, I work like 10 to 6, and it's no big deal. And then starting like around October, we start working like from 8 to 6. And then in November, there's a few days where we go like 8 to 8:30 and things like that. And so it's it gets to be in the heat of the season when it's like packed and you're just trying to help as many people as you can. It definitely wears you out. And we work 6 days a week at that point too. So it's just
Yep.
We were still trying to dig out from the fiasco that was Christmas, and we had a big cold snap with highs as 10 degrees for highs, and then we got like 8 inches of snow dropped on us.
Man.
So that slowed everything down. So.
Thanks.
Well, God bless you and all the work that you guys do.
Yes,
because
exactly.
I was able to get my packages delivered, so thank you. Oh man, guys, Magnum P.I.
Yep.
I remember this show. This was a good one.
Yep.
This was a good one.
What are your what are your general thoughts, or what's your experience with Magnum P.I.?
Well, it was one of those shows. Like I said before, it was the must-watch show. I don't remember what night of the week it came on, but my main experience with it, I don't remember a whole lot from the show. I remember watching it, a few bits with the dogs and things. I think my biggest takeaway from Magnum P.I. it was like my first inclination that people would have celebrity crushes because my mom had a Tom Selleck t-shirt.
Nice.
Just thought it was strange that she was married to my dad, but she wore a shirt with Tom Selleck on it. It's like, what's that supposed to be all about? And there was probably comments made here or there that I did not understand, but got
probably
by a tone and it was one of those like baseball t-shirts that had like yellow 3/4 length sleeves, and it was white, like this real heavy iron on of Tom Selleck in the red blue flowered Hawaiian shirt.
The classic shirt. I think that shirt's in the Smithsonian now.
That's what I've heard. And and so that was like my first inclination that people get crazy over their celebrities. And of course, I remember liking the show as a kid, especially the action scenes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as like plot details or specific episodes, I don't know if I remember any.
Yeah, and I'm kind of in the same boat because I have I remembered Higgins. like, the banter, and not that I knew what banter was, but I remember them going back and forth, and I always thought he hated Magnum, and it doesn't really hate him. It's more he's kind of annoyed with him, and then they kind of respect each other. There's like a mutual respect that's kind of there. But as a kid, I remember my thought, wow, this guy hates this other guy. I mean, it's like he just hates Magnum. And of course, the shirt is classic, and I just remember his red car, and I always thought it was like so cool. It's like, man, this guy's cool.
Yeah.
That was like my thought. It was like him and like Michael Knight and with Bruce Willis from Moonlighting. I mean, those guys, they were just like the cool guys. Like, wow, I always remember that. But really, other than that, there was a lot I didn't remember. Like I'd forgotten that there was voiceover even.
Right. That I did remember.
Oh.
But I didn't remember like his buddies' names or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then, then it was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Well, we went to Hawaii when I was, I think, a junior in high school, and it was probably 2 years after the series ended. And my dad, my brother, and I did a helicopter trip.
Nice.
And the guy had it painted just like the Magnum P.I.
Just like
chopper.
TC's chopper.
Which was awesome. So that was kind of
man. You have like all the cool stories. You got to sit in kit. You got to fly in TC's chopper. I mean,
but I have pictures of none of them. So just take that for what it is.
Pixar didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I did have a little like Hot Wheels of TC's chopper, just like
cool.
And that as far as like toys or anything, that's the only thing I had, and I don't even remember where it came from, to tell you the truth. But
it's funny because I think Tom Selleck really made being a private investigator cool again. Like back in the 30s and 40s, you had like Sam Spade and all that kind of thing, and it's just Humphrey Bogart and I mean, it was all that kind of thing. And it was, dark and moody and they were rough but he kind of made him like with Magnum P.I. I feel like he kind of made him like really every man. And he was cause he's a really easygoing kind of guy. Yep. It's
right.
Very.
And so it's so funny to me that to see that the two back, compared to each other. And it's just, there's really no comparison. I mean, it's Humphrey Bogart over here and then Tom Selleck over here. It's like, okay. They're both tough guys, but in like crazy different ways.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was always my takeaway. Is like he's like, whoa, he's a private investigator that wears a Hawaiian shirt. And I don't remember him using a gun very much.
No, I don't either. I don't even remember that much fighting in this show, but I remember the action scenes really got me. But I think a lot of times they were just like canned footage of the helicopter going for a dive or something.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly right. Well, one thing I was reading was that the show kind of took away the stigma of being a Vietnam vet, which I thought was really cool because a lot of movies and shows up to that point had showed a lot of the vets coming back and not adjusting to the world very well. And in this case, all three of them, because they all served together, Rick, TC, and that's Magnum, right. They were all vets, and they all seemed to just be doing just fine. And so my understanding is that a lot of veterans actually appreciated that and the way they were portrayed. So I thought that's really cool because that's, again, something you don't really see a lot of, especially from that era.
Nope.
So
no, the early 80s, it was Vietnam was a big deal.
Like the A-Team.
Well, in these two episodes, they talk about Vietnam pretty openly too. Yeah, it was a hush hush. I know. I had an uncle that served in Vietnam, and for a long time, it was nothing he talked about to anybody. And within the past, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, he's opened up to his brother, and my dad, about it. Somewhat. And, that's his business and something he unfortunately has to deal with. But they were able to talk about it openly, things that happen and stuff, which I could see where that could give a lot of people a boost to do it themselves if they needed to.
Yeah, for sure. TV
and movies have that kind of influence.
I was, it's funny because there's the long. Everybody knows that Tom Selleck was up for Indiana Jones.
Hello, Murphy. Look, I did what I did. I don't expect you to be happy about it, but maybe it can do us both some good.
Why start
Just
now?
shut up. Shut up and listen to me. Now, I need that piece your father had.
And he would have gotten it if he hadn't, if he hadn't started this.
Yep.
And it's one of those where I think I would have liked to have seen his Indiana Jones, but at the same time, I mean, it's Harrison Ford now is so ingrained in my mind that I don't think I could. Right. I don't think I could watch it. And I've seen the test footage of him with Sean Young. When they were doing that chemistry reading and all that, and I like it, but it's definitely a different Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it would have been quite as successful.
There is an episode, I think it's season 8, where he basically is Indiana Jones, and he's got
awesome.
he's got the hat, he's got the coat, or jacket.
Right.
So look at that one, and it's a little different, but it's obviously supposed to be Indiana Jones.
Is this your favorite Tom Selleck?
Yeah. I like the newer cop show. Where he's the
Blue Bloods.
chief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's 3 Men and a Baby, which very good. But no, this is Tom Selleck for me.
Yeah,
I gotcha. It's funny because the other day we were talking about Runaway. and that's what I remember. Like, of course, I remember him from Magnum P.I, but I actually remember him most from 2 movies. One of them was Runaway from, I believe, 1984, where he's like a cop in a quasi-futuristic area where kind of thing where he basically takes care of like robots that have gone crazy or have malfunctioned, and he has to fight Gene Simmons, who's the villain, and I watched it the other day. It does not really hold up at all. I remember as a kid,
I can't imagine.
I remember as a kid being scared of the robotic spiders, but it was still awesome to watch. I still enjoyed it. But I remember from that one, and then there was another one from I think like 88 or 89, something like that, called Her Alibi, where he plays a mystery writer.
Oh,
and,
and
that one, it's like a romantic comedy thriller kind of spoof, whatever, and it's just it's not a good movie, but man, I love that movie. But I know it's not a good movie. And so to me, when I think of Tom Selleck, I always think of those first, but I think his most iconic role has got to be this, from the show. I
agree with that, and I remember him from those things as well. Quigley Down Under was a staple.
That's another one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
At our house, my dad watched that, I think, every weekend on VHS.
Nice.
And one I really enjoyed a lot, and I don't know how well it holds up, is Mr. Baseball.
I don't think I know that one.
And,
that's
where he plays a kind of like a over the hill baseball player, and they for the Detroit Tigers.
Okay. Gee, I wonder why.
I wonder.
And they send him to Japan to play in the Japanese league to try to get his mojo back. So it's kind of like a fish out of water comedy thing, because he's so tall and big, and
yes.
Their culture is a little bit more short in stature, and then different styles of baseball. And I remember, I haven't seen it in years, but I remember it being really funny.
Nice.
I look for that. I know I saw it years ago, but I want to see it again.
I'm gonna have to check it out for sure. Like, the more you talk about it, like, it's vaguely coming back to me, but I don't think I ever saw it. I think I just remember
it has the actor that does the Allstate commercials, the voiceover, and he was in 24.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
And I believe that's him in there. I could be completely wrong. And
he was Serrano in Major League.
Yes.
Serrano want to bat.
Right.
I think, but it's been years, if not, at Totally Rad Christmas podcast on Twitter, just blow him up.
There you go. Yeah. We'll totally hit him up, see what he has to say.
There you go.
Oh man. So Magnum P.I. debuted in 1980, which I thought was kind of cool, December 11th. And it ran for 8 seasons. In fact, it was only going to run for 7. They even had a full series finale and everything. And then it got picked up again for another season. And so they were able to make it last one more time. And then I think they ended it on not quite a cliffhanger, but they kind of left it open-ended on its final ending in season 8 there. But the thing I like about it is that it does have 2 what I think are pretty good Christmas episodes, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there would be a part of my Christmas canon, but I could definitely see myself watching them in the future. So the first one's from season 1.
Hi.
Thursday, Magnum is hired by some schoolgirls to find their missing teacher.
There is just no limit to their imaginations.
And once again, Magnum is in over his head.
I think I can explain this whole misunderstanding. No, you don't.
Spend Christmas in Hawaii with Magnum. Thursday at 9, 8 Central and Mountain.
And it's called Thank Heaven for Little Girls and Big Ones Too. And it's a play on an old Lerner and Lowe, a song from a Lerner and Lowe movie, Gigi. And the song itself was sung by Maurice Chevalier, who's a famous French singer at the time. Which I always thought the song was kind of creepy myself. And so when I heard the name of the title of this the episode, I thought, "Oh no, what's going on?" Yeah. But luckily, it's Magnum P.I, so it's not going to be that bad.
There is some creepy in there.
But it's that was only I think the 4th episode ever.
It was
of Magnum, and so the music is different.
The
intro music. Mm-hmm. The intro scenes are different. The font is different. I mean, it really they changed.
They hadn't quite gotten into their groove yet.
No.
Which it's I like to see shows like that. They really takes them a while, to get into it. But once they do, then they generally hit their stride, and it's really great.
Yeah.
And this show again was no different. They were kind of still learning their characters. Still, things were still not quite, locked into that perfectly. The chemistry, wasn't quite locked in yet, kind of a thing. But there was this one, and then in season 4 there was Operation Silent Night, which is another one that was pretty good. And that one's, I don't want to say it's a bottle episode, but it's almost like what they would consider a bottle episode, where everybody's just stuck in one room essentially. And in this case, they're stuck on like an island. These ones, I got to be honest, I don't recall the specific episodes at all. And so seeing it again was kind of really cool. It was almost like seeing it for the first time. Although I remembered bits and pieces, like I remembered him in the Santa suit. That always stuck out to me. But that was it. I couldn't have told you anything else about the plot. I just remember seeing Tom Selleck in a Santa suit. The first one, though, I had no recollection of it all.
No.
But I guess let's go ahead and dive right in.
Okay.
All right. So we'll start off with that season 1, episode 4. And in this case, Magnum is hired by some little girls to find their missing teacher, or so we think. Dun, dun, dun. Of course, it starts off, he and Higgins are getting into it. Higgins' dogs, they're Dobermans, right? Zeus and Apollo.
Zeus and Apollo.
Yeah. And so they're, again, right away, we get classic between he and Higgins, where he wants to get wine from the wine cellar and Higgins won't let him. But that's when he gets the call. And so he goes to meet this unknown client. It's like an anonymous call that Rick gives him, says, just meet him at this place. And so he goes, and these little girls show up and they say, "Hey, our teacher's missing, and, we can pay you, and, please find her." But
she shouldn't be punished for her passion. I love that.
That's right. Cause they tell him basically that she ran off with like some, not beach bum, but like a
beach bum.
Is that what they say? Okay. Yeah. Some like surfer bro.
Yeah. A bit of a higher class description of him, but by the end it was pretty much just beach bum.
And didn't they also say this isn't the first time?
Right.
He did say that, yeah.
So,
and it's funny because they're like, normally it's no big deal, but our headmaster's coming back tomorrow to spend Christmas with us because we're on vacation here, and so we need her here. Like, she can't not be here, otherwise she'll get in trouble. And that's when we get that line that you said. So he agrees because he's, kind of a big softy, which is funny.
It really is.
And so he, it turns out they're going to pay him with the deposit for their hotel. So they checked out of the hotel. Now they have no place to stay. And so he has to take him back to Robin Masters' estate, which is where he's living. Higgins, who we've mentioned before, is the head of security for Robin Masters, who's an author. Is that right?
Yep.
He's an author. Yeah. And it's implied that Magnum helped him out with something. And so he's letting Magnum stay at his place. And I guess one of the running gags of the show is that, he and Higgins kind of quarrel about, how far he can go and what he can use and things like that. And Higgins kind of resents, at least at this point, he kind of resents the fact that he's staying there and he's like a freeloader. And there's
Higgins says, I think it's early in this episode, it should be his motto, guests leave.
Yeah.
Guests leave.
Yes, which is, that is true.
Magnum isn't leaving.
No. So he convinces Higgins to let them stay. And while they're there, they notice that Robin Masters has just bought a new Gauguin. Mm-hmm. And so it's, he's very proud of it. He paid what was it, 2 million pounds or something like that?
Marks.
2 million marks. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. For this Gauguin. And, it's all rigged. There's, an alarm on it, things like that. And, right away the girls touch it. And we quickly find out that it's because they plan to go there because they're going to steal it. In the meantime, they give Magnum a false lead to go follow,
Right.
And so, yeah, exactly. And so he picks up TC. He's like, hey, let's go to dinner. And and so they were able to go to this, I guess, a seedy part of town to go investigate. And TC right away is like, yeah, man, this is another one of your cases, isn't it? Which I love.
Well, I like that part of their
relationship.
Yeah, was keyed in so early because he's always given him grief.
Yes, yeah. So they investigate and they discover that the bartender has seen a blonde lady kind of like that with the Hawaiian guy, and maybe that address that you have is for a place upstairs.
Yeah.
And of course they go upstairs and it's let's just say it's very seedy and a little disreputable. And there's a guy there, the main guy, who's just boxing. He's like practicing, on a punching bag. And once they start asking too many questions, he doesn't like that. And shenanigans ensue and a fight breaks out. And next thing we see, they're running out of the place and his shirt's torn. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yep.
Yeah, I did.
Oh man. Yeah. This was great because then when as they're driving away and they're telling him, Magnum's telling TC, hey, what's going on? TC's like, let me out. Just pull over, let me out. I'm getting out.
And he does.
He does, yeah. But he's in a time crunch because he thinks he's got to find this lady before tomorrow, and so he pretty much leaves him there, not knowing that the boss, the Hawaiian boss of the guys that just beat him up, want him to investigate and find out who's asking questions about him.
Right. A blonde lady with a Hawaiian guy is probably pretty common.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
Yep. And so he sends his goons after him. Turns out they pick up TC and I guess put the screws to him. Meanwhile, Magnum doesn't like being taken for a ride, so he goes to the hotel to see if he can find any clues about the lady. Turns out their teacher hasn't left her room all night, and so as he's talking to her, he she kind of tells him a story how the little girls do this everywhere they go. They say I've run away, and then they just want to go be on their own and have their own adventure, whatever. And he's not buying it, especially once she gets a phone call while he's there. He's like,
That's
okay.
Right. Yep.
So he starts putting two and two together. He's like, something's not right here.
Yeah.
And so he takes her he takes her to Robin Masters' place, and that's when they catch the girls in the act trying to steal the painting.
Right.
Turns out the lady's in trouble, or the teacher, whatever.
Yeah.
She kind of helped, not counterfeit, but I guess what's the word? She helped authenticate a fake painting of the Gauguin, and it's like part of a whole fraud scheme by this guy, this investor that sold the painting because he had to, but he didn't want to, and so it was like part of a plan to get it back or whatever. And so the one that Higgins was protecting was a fake, and they were going to replace it with the real one so that they wouldn't get in trouble or anything like that. Anyway, Higgins doesn't believe him, but Magnum convinces him, hey, it's Christmas. It's okay. Don't get the police involved. And so they go home and, no harm, no foul, essentially. You have the real painting. It's cool. Yep. And as they're going back to the hotel, they're greeted by the former owner with a gun, holding him at gunpoint. And so he kidnaps the girls and locks them away in it wasn't a bomb shelter. What was it? It was I don't know, some places.
Yeah, kind of
World War II bunker or something.
Yeah, something like some sort of bunker. Yeah,
we get to 130 degrees in there and kill them.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
He's going to bake them to death. To death.
Yeah.
He locks them in. There's no air, no ventilation. It's just they're going to be superheated, and unless she gives him the painting, in which case then he'll tell her where they are. So they have to steal the painting essentially from Higgins. They kind of tell him, look, hey, we're going to borrow it, whatever. We got to rescue the girls. They convince him somehow. I still don't know how they managed to convince him to do it, but they convince him to let him take the painting, and they arrange for this elaborate plot essentially where Rick is kind of scuba diving. Yeah. he's like the I don't know, spy, I guess. And so Magnum plants the painting at like the stadium or Coliseum type thing, and with the big pool, and Rick's this spy, and the gangster will grab the painting and then call them with the whereabouts.
Right.
And that's the plan. Before they can go through with it, though, they're captured by the Hawaiian guys and his associates. He's like, why are you asking, about why are you trying to find my girl?
Yeah.
Right. And there's a mix up. The Hawaiian gangster's like, why are you trying to find me and my girlfriend? And they're like, we're not. I was trying to find her. And he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then Magnum, starts spinning this yarn off the top of his head about how his right-hand guy who was doing, working the heavy bag at the gym was, peeling off the top, and the guy bought it. Just happened to be true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's like, I've been a successful businessman, and the last couple of months or whatever, I've some money is starting to go missing, and things here and there, and how people, private eyes are looking for my girl. I don't get it. And so I love how he tells him the truth. He's like, let me tell you the truth, and he says it in a way that you think he's lying, but it's the actual truth.
Exactly.
Everyone Higgins is like, oh, that's sounds like baloney, and even TC's like, please don't tell that story again.
And when they first get there, Magnum's like, I can explain everything, and Higgins is like, no, you can't.
No, you can't. Yeah.
It's like the writers of this episode knew how ridiculous the storyline was going to be.
That's exactly right. It's so funny because the girls literally is like standing next to her, is like, no, I was looking for her. This is the blood lady I was looking for, and they don't believe him.
Right.
So yeah, he spins the whole yarn. Turns out to be true. They let him go, and they're able to go to that Coliseum and put the Gauguin, the real Gauguin, because instead of using the fake like they wanted to, Higgins actually threw it away, and so they have to use the real one. So they hide it there, and as the guy goes to get it and drives away, Rick, who had been kind of under the water observant, he gets out and follows him, and they tail him to the airport, where they're able to make a switch by holding him up in the security line.
Yep.
And so they switch out the real ones. They're also able to go and save the girls at this point, because he had told them where they were. And
the youngest girl starts weirdly singing the 12 days of
The
Christmas.
12 days of Christmas.
As
Yeah.
they're all baking slowly. And it's really
Gotta do
bizarre.
something while you're baking slowly.
True. Really bizarre and kind of creepy.
Well, I think what's even creepier is when she goes, "You're wonderful, Mr. Magnum." It's like, oh no, she's got a crush on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They save the day. They convince Higgins not to press charges, and he's gonna like call the police or tell Mr. Masters, about it, that like, hey,
Yes.
he gave away your Gauguin, he did this, you're gonna want to kick him out. But in the end, he says, "Oh yeah, I don't know if you'd if you want him to know that 5 little girls beat your security system."
Yeah, right, exactly.
And so he's able to kind of blackmail his way, essentially.
Yep.
I do have one question about this episode, and I don't know if it's a 1980s thing or if it's a Hawaiian thing, but the whole time in the airport, TC's standing there with a shirt on, but completely unbuttoned.
That was a 1980s thing.
Yeah.
Because there's several movies where that happens, just open shirts. It's like, wait a minute.
And that pre 9/11 airport security too.
Exactly. Yeah, that wasn't gonna fly. Yeah. But I do like how TC's standing there. He's while they're waiting for the guy to get there. It's funny because he's looking, he's looking at some leis, the flower leis.
Yeah.
Like, he just keeps like, do you have any ones that are macho, like more manly ones? So the girl shows him one. He's like, no, like a more macho one.
He's looking around like trying to find the guy, and then Rick's the only one that knows what he looks like. So it's like,
that's right. He's the only one that saw him.
Yeah.
And then Rick sees him and he whistles, and like Steve Martin and Three Amigos.
No, yeah. Look up here.
Hey, you guys.
Oh man, I think of the two, this one was more Christmassy.
I agree.
I mean, the other one's Christmassy too. They sing Silent Night at the end. He's in, he goes to get a tree and there's Santa. But this one, I mean, there's Christmas trees. Even the gangsters hideout, or not gangster, the Hawaiians hideout is there's garland and stuff hanging. I mean, it's just
when early on Higgins actually says "bah humbug."
He does. Yes, he does.
Which, of course, I had to pause the movie and think, okay, now who would be what if they were doing a Christmas Carol? But that's another conversation for another time. And there was, it sounded like a 64-bit version of a Christmas music at like a Christmas disco when they first got into the bar. There was Christmas music playing. So, I think this one was more. I'll show you a couple of points where the second episode we're going to talk about could have been more Christmassy. But yeah, this one was, I mean, again, Magnum says at the very beginning of this episode, it's not Christmas in Hawaii. It's not, you have to think that it's Christmas. You have to hear things, to get that.
I totally get. I mean, I'm from Texas here, and
I'm from California,
and you're from California,
so,
yeah. Most of our Christmases are like 70 degrees, 80 degrees, So it's very rare that. I mean, now that I live in North Texas, it's a little bit more common, but it's very rare that it would get lower than like 50. That was usually that was cold. It was in the 50s,
Yeah. Exactly.
Because we were used to 70s and 80s. That's cold.
Yep.
Yep. So,
yeah, I think this one's more Christmas in appearance, but I think the second one might be more Christmas in message.
Like feelings. Yeah,
feelings.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, for sure. But I like this one. This was a fun episode. I mean, here and there are a couple of bits that you can tell they're still trying to figure out the show, and yeah, definitely the theme song was different and kind of distracting.
Yes,
but
it's not the same. It was like, what is this?
Yeah,
I saw this intro. It's like it wasn't anything I knew or familiar with, but when I watched the intro of the second one, it's like I knew every scene.
Yes. Same here. And I guess the first 9 episodes were done with this original theme song, and then it was changed later on to the one that we know. And I'm glad they did because it's better. It's a better song.
That theme song has been my ringtone since basically since Christmas ended.
Oh, nice.
So it's funny that we're doing this.
Right on. Yeah. I liked it though. Like I said, I don't think this is going in my Christmas canon, but I can definitely see myself like, oh, I want to watch this, again.
Yeah.
The next one, though, Operation Silent Night, that one I like because there's a lot more character development. So in the first ones, while they're still trying to grab their bearings and, they're still trying to find their characters and figure out how the show's going to work. In this case, they've been doing it now for 4 seasons.
Yep. And
so you can tell the relationships are there. They're more in tune with their characters. I mean, even Magnum was a lot more laid back. He's like, don't worry about it. It'll happen. And he'll fix it in an hour and, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And Higgins was like the very British kind of, when I was trapped on such and such island. I mean, just everything about it, and like the characters are the ones that I recognize, I guess I should say.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say, I agree with that because Higgins was, he's gotten to the point where he was the big storyteller and just everybody was just, the ragging gag was just get to the point, the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I, kind of remember that from the episode and them, always picking on Rick like they do. And
yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. And doesn't TC always call him like Higgy Baby or something like that?
Yes, he does. Yeah. Yep. Well, it's better than Huggins.
Huggins, yeah. That is the last. Yeah, the little girls calls him Mr. Huggins. No, and this one, the plot of this one's a lot more straightforward than the other one. Where the other one has to do with like a heist and trying to replace us, whatever. This one is TC is basically just dropping the guys off at their different Christmas engagements. But as they're doing that, the helicopter, something malfunctions and they land on a beach that's usually used for gunnery practice by the Navy. And that's really the plot. They have to escape. They have to get off. That's it. It's almost very what's that? Flight of the Phoenix, and I think they even mentioned that in the episode, don't they? Yeah, where they basically they have to figure out a way to get off there. Of course, then they see the flares and realize that gunnery practice is happening, and so they really have to get off there fast. But that's later.
Guess what?
On.
They did.
Yeah, they did. And they did.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, it's a show.
But yeah, exactly. Just you look at the clock and say, it's going to start now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. But I like it. Magnum was going to go to what was it, an orphanage or a hospital? I don't recall, but
I think it was an orphanage.
Yeah.
It had a teacher involved because they kind of harassed him about doing it for the teacher as well.
For the teacher,
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but he was going to play Santa for a bunch of kids and essentially deliver them presents and things like that. And so that's where he was going. Rick was, or TC was going to go visit his family. I don't remember where Higgins was going to go.
He was going to the banana plantation to give the workers Christmas bonuses.
Oh, bonuses. Yeah, that's right. Okay. And Rick, I think, was going to, was it a beauty contest?
The Santa's Little Helper beauty contest.
That's okay. Yeah. That's Rick. Yep.
Exactly.
Oh, man. And so, the chopper malfunctions. They go down. They're trying to figure it out. And I love how in this heat, Magnum still has the Santa suit on.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how I literally would have been in like shorts and t-shirt, and before it was time to get there, it's like, okay, I'd change real quick. But they're there on the island, and he's just like, he still has the beard, he's got the whole suit and the hat, and I'm like, God, aren't you hot? Like that was the only thing I could think of. This guy must be burning up.
Yeah.
but I guess not. I don't know how. I mean, I've never been to Hawaii, so I don't know if there's nice breezes, or I mean, I imagine there is.
There probably is, and probably the helicopter. I mean, the helicopter would be a nice breeze, but when you land, I'm thinking it would get pretty toasty.
Yeah. But it's funny because Rick's kind of freaking out. He's like, I'm gonna miss my show, or everybody else is just okay. Higgins immediately gets some palm fronds and starts weaving a hat for himself.
Very nice hat too.
It is nice. Yeah, he's great at that weaving. Yeah. And TC, I like because he talks about Kwanzaa in it, which is really cool too. Because I didn't realize that was a thing at this time.
That must have been one of the first pop culture
references to
Kwanzaa. That's what I would assume.
Yeah. I
would think so.
I didn't remember that.
They kind of gave like a quick definition of it.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. So that's really cool too. Because still, even today, you don't get a whole lot of, like you said, pop culture references to it.
No.
So that was really neat. But right away, Higgins goes exploring. And basically, most of the show is them like exploring the island, trying to get off. Rick complaining about
everything,
trying to get off. Bugs. There's a whole thing with the bugs and
several.
They keep teasing him about the bugs on him until finally there really is one. It's a praying mantis, I think, on his head.
Yep.
And
a legit one too, not a.
Yeah, it was huge. It was, it was pretty big.
I saw his little leg was kicking on that close up.
He's like, whatever. Like I'm not buying it. Of course, then he goes off screen and you hear
Yeah.
But there's a lot of cool bits in this. I like how they find the Japanese plane, probably from when they were bombing Pearl Harbor. And there's a really cool thing where basically they're like, no, we need to bury him because, he's someone's family. He was just following his orders. And and I thought that's really cool.
Yeah. Magnum, something like he was a soldier too. He might be on the other side, but he was a soldier too.
He was a soldier. Yeah, exactly. And so they bury him. Higgins, of course, is like, oh, this reminds me of when I was trapped on an island in such and such place. And I was able to turn the hull of the ship into a nice little sailboat. And so he immediately begins.
He get a lot done in what is probably 12 hours?
Just a couple of hours. Yeah.
I mean, I actually wrote that down. Like, what was the time frame? Because there should be night here.
They were running late because they had overbooked all the helicopter rides.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, he'd been flying all day. So it had to be noon at the earliest. I would think 3 or 4 o'clock would be.
Yeah, I agree.
And it was midnight when they got out because the Navy ship said they were going to start firing at midnight.
Yeah, on Christmas. Yeah.
Yep.
And while all this is going on, we cut to that ship, and they decide they're going to go ahead and do operations, and they targeted certain areas that aren't really targeted very often, and that kind of a thing. We have a few spots, and so that's like the whole thing is that they got to get this done quick, because if they don't, but in their minds they don't know anything about it. I mean, obviously they're on a boat on a ship far away, and so they don't realize this is going on, and so they're like, yeah, okay, don't worry, we'll take our time, and until they see the first flare, and then they're like, oh crap, we got to get out of here. Basically. But Higgins, he makes his boat, he tries it, and it fails miserably. And so he starts feeling really like depressed, and basically starts writing a will.
I know.
Like, oh man. And there's a funny gag where he's going to leave.
The Bridge of the River Kwai.
Yes, that's what it was. His copy of Bridge on the River Kwai to Magnum.
Yep.
Then he realizes, oh, he's probably going to die here too. And so then he changes it.
Yeah, he leaves it to Zeus and Apollo, his dogs.
That's right. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, they'll watch it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Another funny thing about this episode, I think we hear everybody's full name except for TC's, which I just thought was
you're right.
Yeah, because
It's Orville for Rick.
Orville, which he hates.
Orville Richard Wright. You know?
That's right. Yeah, Orville Wright.
And Thomas Sullivan Magnum.
Right.
Yes.
I guess we heard Higgins' his last name. It was Jonathan Higgins, or middle name.
Jonathan Quayle Higgins.
Yeah.
The third.
Yeah. I don't remember hearing TCs because I was like, what does TC stand for?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It and I actually have that if I can find it. Theodore Calvin is his full name.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, he runs Island Hoppers, the helicopter charter service.
So they're all nerds.
Pretty much, yeah. Oh man. But yeah, Rick falls into some what he thinks is quicksand.
Oh yeah. Classic 80s. Boy,
Yeah, this is another one of those things.
Yes.
There's that meme that goes around where, when I was younger, I thought quicksand would be a lot more common.
Yes.
This is true. This is another one of those 80s things, just pushing the quicksand narrative.
Well, I wonder how many
quicksand, man.
I wonder how many times people could have been saved if they just stood up when they thought they were in quicksand.
Well, yeah. Maybe all this time it was just a little
Bog.
a bog.
Yeah,
just a bog.
If someone made a Hall of Fame for 1980 stuff, quicksand would be a first ballot Hall of Fame.
Quicksand and a floppy disk.
That's right. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I love it because he's all nice in his shirt and tucked in. He's got the nice tight tuck and everything. And then of course at this point after he falls in, it's just why even bother at that point. But but I also love how Higgins makes them a meal. And it's some roots,
yes,
roots and berries that he gathered, and he made it into like a mush kind of soup thing. And and he's like, "Oh, no one wants seconds." He's like, "Oh, it must have been more filling than I thought." It's like, read the room, man. Read the room. It's just terrible.
That's pretty dangerous just to go get some roots and berries and cook up.
Well, his survival skills, we're
starting to slip too.
They were starting to slip, yeah, because apparently he couldn't even make his boat sail. But eventually, they pick up the pace. They start figuring out what's wrong, or they think they figure out what's wrong. They're not sure. Then they see the flares, and they're like, "Okay, let's go. We gotta just try it." And they're able to get it off.
The lightest tap of the hammer I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Helicopter started.
And they mentioned that earlier too, when they're like, didn't last time you just didn't you just hit it with the hammer? So you whacked it with the hammer and then it worked. That's they're quote unquote whacking it. Just
you couldn't call that hitting it with a hammer at all.
No. If only everything worked like that. Oh man, but I did like while everybody, Rick is getting crazy, Higgins is off doing his own thing. I do like how Malcolm, how Magnum went and found a Christmas tree for him, essentially.
Yes,
yeah.
Of course, they all kind of looked at him like he was crazy, but I thought it was kind of cool that he's still full of the Christmas spirit.
Yep.
The opening scene of this episode, they were all bickering at each other, and then kind of as it goes along and through the dialogue, they kind of talk about how they've gotten too busy at the holidays and kind of forgot what Christmas was about. And this whole event on this island kind of helped pull them back to the center of what Christmas and Kwanzaa are about, and that's why I kind of feel like this one thematically might be more Christmas, but it lacked a little bit of Christmas as far as, even though there was some Christmas music in it, not as much as the other one. And definitely, on a deserted island, it's not going to have as much Christmas decoration.
Right.
There were two parts where TC is working on the helicopter by himself, and he's singing. Yeah. And he's singing Chain Gang.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the other one was.
The Boardwalk.
Yes.
Under the Boardwalk, yeah.
That'd be the perfect time for Christmas music.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But although he was a pretty good singer, I'd say.
I was impressed.
Yeah. I liked it. It. I would have liked to, you're right. I would have liked to have heard him sing but maybe not. Maybe because he was celebrating Kwanzaa instead. Maybe.
That's true. I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
But yeah, that would have been cool. I would have liked to have heard him sing what's it? Oh, Holy Night.
Yeah.
I liked his voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when Rick falls into the faux quicksand, he says funeral, and
yes, that's a great scene.
Oh yeah,
and Jingle Bells playing over the top of it in this like funeral organ sound.
Yes,
version of Jingle Bells.
So. Yeah, it's like one of those classic little church organs.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about what a great guy he is, and stuff.
Yeah, that was neat.
You're right. This was definitely more of a character building episode.
Yes,
but it had a lot of heart.
Yeah,
and so while the other one was definitely heavier on the decorations, this one, I think, just spirit wise, you're right.
Yeah,
was definitely a lot heavier. So yeah, I which is funny because of the two, I think I like this one better.
Yes, I think you're right. I think I do like this one better. It felt more like the Magnum I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the other one I think was just too early.
There was a lot of things going on in the first one.
Well, yeah, that too. It was pretty packed.
Yeah.
Like it was enough for just, the girls and, the kidnapper or whatever. Like
yeah.
That's enough. But then when they also brought in the other Hawaiian and his girl and his gang, I mean, that was like a whole other subplot that probably could have been lost and trimmed the fat a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And of course they make it, they fly away, and as they're flying away, they start singing Silent Night, which was a great moment. That was one of those like, that's awesome. Just,
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child.
And I know it's not one of the most Christmassy things, but to me, that's like a classic TV moment,
right?
Where, they all just kind of in the spirit and they realize that they're all friends and it like time to slow down. And I mean, it really like hit home to me, at least anyway. Yeah. It was great.
I agree.
And then they took the light on the helicopter and kind of morphed it into a star, and for Christmas, and it was a nice way to end it.
Yeah, it was nice. So Tom Selleck actually won an Emmy in 1984 for Magnum P.I, and Higgins, what's his name, John Hillerman, he also won an Emmy as well in 87. I mean, this was a really well done show. It was nominated for so many different for Golden Globes, for Emmys. I mean, it's quite an achievement there.
Yeah.
Apparently on a couple of years ago, a group of 45 men dressed as Magnum were thrown from a Detroit Tigers game. I don't know if you guys heard about this.
No.
Well, they were smoking and like catcalling women and stuff like that. And but I guess because they were dressed like Magnum P.I, it gained quite some popularity.
That's funny.
I know there was a sequel that was done, or not a sequel, a reboot essentially.
Reboot, yeah. It was pretty good. I mean, I watched probably 6 episodes that first year, and it was okay. I mean, once you get used to the fact that Higgins was a woman, there's nothing wrong with that, but just how they related, it was pretty good.
Oh, okay.
I actually forgot that they did that, and I hadn't seen any of it at all.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. It was Jay Hernandez, I guess, was the Magnum.
Yeah.
I don't recognize him from anything.
I didn't either.
He wasn't Flint in the G.I. Joe sequel, was he? I don't remember.
Oh, that name.
Anyway. Yeah, but I know that it was pretty cool because it did cross over with a couple of shows here and there.
Yes.
So I know there was a crossover episode with Murder, She Wrote.
Yep.
That's the kind of knowledge that makes me a private investigator and you a novelist, and a very good one.
Thank you.
I'm sure that normally you're very good at what you do.
It's that's like one of those that you don't think of pairing together. Like
there's only like 1,100 episodes of Murder She Wrote.
That's right.
Like that.
I think it went on for like 23 seasons, right?
Well, it was kind of funny because I guess one part would be on Magnum, the other part would be on Murder She Wrote. And they also did the same thing with Simon and Simon.
Yeah.
Which that's a pretty good show.
Yes.
I can't wait to get back on solid ground. Like California? Yeah. Look, we're sorry if we put you through any hassle. I mean, hey, look at it from our point of view. I mean, everything we did made perfect sense at the time.
We love Simon and Simon.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got to see if there's some Christmas episodes.
Yeah, that's one that I haven't, I never really watched growing up at all.
Yeah.
My parents didn't watch it, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that. I'd be interested in really just in seeing the crossover episodes, honestly.
I've seen both of them.
Oh yeah, and how are they?
I didn't realize until I was researching for this podcast that the second episode was on the other guy's show. So I've actually only seen the first.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. Well, I know they wanted to do a Magnum P.I. movie, and Tom Clancy and Tom Selleck had even worked together on it, which I'd still like to see it. I know he's older now. I still think he'd kill it. I think it'd be great. Honestly, it's just one of those that I wish. Why not? Let's do it. I mean, especially at this point when like the 80s nostalgia is huge. I mean, Cobra Kai, you've got Stranger Things, which hits on it, the Goldbergs, which hits on it.
Yep.
They're bringing back Gremlins, Ghostbusters is coming. I mean, like all this 80s nostalgia, might as well capitalize it. And Top Gun 2. I mean, all that stuff. So it's like I'd pay money to see it for real.
I would too. Yeah.
Yep. Even if it was like a TV movie or
even that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially when you think about some of the TV, even if it was done by like Netflix or Hulu, or something like that. I mean, that stuff looks great for their budgets. I mean, they really know how to do production values, how to step it up.
Yep.
And I think even as just in general, TV shows have come a long way production wise. So I mean, I think with the technology available and I mean, it would be really cool. And you know what? Tom Selleck looks exactly the same. I mean, he still looks great for his age.
Yep. 77 or 76. He's
something like that. Yeah. He's getting up there, unfortunately. But
he's not going anywhere.
He's had a solid career. We touched on some of his stuff, but Blue Bloods, he's still relevant. He had that stint on Friends through the 90s too.
That's right.
Yeah, Richard,
I forgot about that. Yep.
Yeah, Monica's Love.
Yep.
Oh man. Yeah, this was a good one, and I liked it. I really did.
Yeah. They both were good. I don't know if it's just because good TV shows hold up over time, or if I'm just becoming old and I think stuff when I was a kid was better than anything. But within the past few months, Jerry, I was on with you and we did the Newhart, which we talked about.
Yeah,
loved it. And then you came on and we talked about the Dick Van Dyke.
So
yeah,
it was great. And it's like, yeah, maybe I should, all these are on the Roku channel, and I'm sure you find them other places. But it's like, maybe I need to sit down and watch all these. These are really good.
Yeah,
so
I totally agree.
We started
because new TV good TV holds up no matter how old it is, like movies, or if it's just the old man in me.
Yeah, little column A, little column B.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But I think you hit the nail on the head. Just good episodes with good writing and great acting. It just holds up, and that's why that Dick Van Dyke episode we did really worked, because it was clever writing. It was like literally, hey, we want to do a variety show. How do we do that? Well, let's say, we're going to do it like this. And they showcased it in a way where they kind of highlighted everybody's strengths and weaknesses, or strengths, I mean, and so it's the same thing with this. Are they the best episodes ever? No, but at the same time, they really knew how to build on the characters, especially once, that season 4 one, especially once they really had their characters down. They paired the relationships, the pairings were those that had the most like conflict, but at the same time had the most to grow and gain from each other. And I think there is something to be said about just in general TV that's written well will always hold up. And so I agree for sure.
It's been amazing. I can't wait to do more episodes like this with you guys and for Christmas Clatter and stuff where you kind of dive into some of this stuff that kind of, like I said, I don't want to say forgotten, but it's pushed off to the side.
I was talking with my my dad the other day, and we were talking about he was saying how it's sad how like a lot of today's kids don't really know like songs from like the 50s or 60s anymore. And I was thinking about it, and I thought, yeah, that's true. Because whenever we would go on trips and we put on the oldies station, it was like 50s and 60s, and and then of course it was the 80s then, so it's like there was 80s music everywhere. But it's like that's what we heard as oldies, and now
it's
of
80s,
course, making us all feel old. Now the 80s and 70s, 80s, 90s is what's considered the oldies or classic station.
Yeah.
It's like, man.
just the other day, my oldest girl starts singing "You Are So Beautiful to Me."
Nice.
Like, I was like, what are you singing? She goes, "Oh, the song off TikTok."
Oh no!
Oh no!
Like, it's not off TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I failed.
Well,
There's so many times where my kids talking about DuckTales, and they like the new one better than the old one. And I was just saying, I failed as a parent.
I've got my 6th grader watching the Wonder Years now.
Nice.
So and I was like, okay, hey, this is working. And then my oldest twin just bought Ricky Nelson's greatest hits on vinyl.
Oh, wow.
So
awesome.
Think, all right, I think I'm doing okay on the parent thing here.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, we started binge watching Who's the Boss on Roku, but they only had the first 2 seasons. So it's we got to the end of season 2, we're like, what's going on? Where is it? And so now we're gonna have to go seek them out because I gotta know what happens.
Yes. Who is the boss?
It's definitely Angela. Angela's the boss, I think. Yeah, I don't know. But that it does make me wonder, what would you guys say is your happiest moment or memory of Magnum P.I.?
Well, probably mine is kind of what I touched on, just the fact of seeing my mom's fandom.
Yeah.
In it, and that's the thing I remember. That shirt I'm sure is long gone.
Yeah.
I still have a vivid picture. I think there's a picture of her in it somewhere. I need to dig through the old photos.
Album. Nice. Yeah.
And dig it up, and cool. If I can find it fast enough, I'll send you a copy, Jerry.
Cool.
So
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Just that fact of seeing my mom's fandom, and I guess at some point that probably encouraged me to be fans of things, and and have that kind of stuff on a shirt and stuff like that. So.
Cool.
What about you, Michael?
Actually, I think this moment sums up, I think, the entire series. And actually, it's in the opening credits when Magnum looks at the camera and he kind of nods or yeah. And that just sums up. I mean, I've seen that episode, but that sums up that entire Magnum P.I. That's what it is.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. For me, it's the car. I remember getting in that car and it was awesome. And I don't really know. I've never really been a huge car guy. It was like, for me, the Batmobile was like the best car ever.
Yeah.
But every time, it's like something about the cool car, like the Dukes of Hazzard, the General Lee there, Kit and his, just the red T-Bird. It was awesome. And every time it was just like, God, that looks so fun. I want to drive around in there,
Yeah. Of course, he's so tall, he looks up over there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have that problem. But
me either.
But that definitely brings me to my favorite part of the show, which is a little segment I like to call Gag Me with the Spoon. So this is where we do our best impression of our least favorite episode. And I think in this case, winner just gets bragging rights. As a guest, I'll let you guys just go first and just kind of set up the scene for us and then do your best impression.
Michael, you want to go?
Okay. I heard this and I thought this is what I've got to do. It's from this Operation Silent Night, and it's just a couple of words, and Higgins is kind of in the forest foraging, and the guys are searching for him. All of a sudden you hear, "Oh my God." And that was it. Nice. I don't even know if you remember that part of the episode. But I heard that and I thought, that's the line.
Oh, man.
Well, for me, I'll try to add some context, but it just, this part struck me as funny. In the first episode we discussed with the art heist, Magnum has to take the original painting and hide it in the crack of a wall at the top of this stadium, and he's got those big concrete steps, they're kind of oddly placed, so they're hard to get up and down. Of course, Tom Selleck, being lean and athletic, scampers up no problem.
Yeah,
back down no problem. Well, the kidnapper guy, who could be Santa Claus because of his white beard.
He did have a big beard, yeah.
And his body type gets up those steps, but it was painful to watch him come down the step. So my Gag Me with the Spoon moment would be that guy coming down the steps and
That's good. That's good. I can't follow that.
I was like, that's me coming down them steps.
I actually wrote a note about that because that looked so painful.
Poor guy.
And if you listen, I think there's background, but you listen, it's like, oof.
Oh man, poor guy. I actually had two. I had one from each, but I think I'm only going to go with the second one here. So this is from Operation Silent Night also, and this is when Higgins and TC are talking, and Higgins has just been telling the story, and TC goes, "What you talking about, Higgins?"
Yes.
Yeah. Gary Coleman reference.
That's right. Yeah. I had to pause it. I said, "Wait, did he just say what I thought he said?" And I rewound it, and yes, he did.
Yep.
If you're wondering if TC quotes Gary Coleman, he does.
He does.
Oh man, yeah, that would surprise me. But I thought, oh wow, they went for it.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Hey, but he put all of it into it.
He did,
yeah, they did.
Yeah, he did. He didn't hold anything.
No,
I was gonna do the first one, and then I changed my mind because you kind of already did it earlier. But I was gonna do when Magnum is trying to convince him that it's Christmas time and he shouldn't let the girls, from the first episode, he shouldn't let the girls be punished, and he says, "Bah, humbug."
Yes.
But it does make me wonder. G.I. Joe taught us that knowing is half the battle. What do you think the other half is?
Knowing when and when not to have your shirt completely unbuttoned. When to have it properly halfway buttoned, and when to have it fully buttoned.
That's right. Yes.
All three have been
apparently at the airport looking for leis. It's completely unbuttoned.
That makes sense.
Well, yeah, if you're looking for leis, shirt completely unbuttoned.
Unbuttoned. Yep.
If you're lounging on a ledge of a flower bed with a big camera looking for somebody, halfway buttoned.
Yep.
You're holding the cardboard tube waiting to make the switcheroo completely buttoned.
Completely. Yep.
Got to be buttoned up.
Yep. Those are the rules. Yep.
It's kind of like the rule in Golden Girls where only three sit at the table at one time.
Yep. The other one, yeah, that's exactly right.
Stand, so.
Magnum P.I.'s Guide to Shirt Etiquette.
Yes.
Oh man, what about you, Michael? What do you think the other half of the battle is?
The other half of the battle is calling around instead of island hopper for my tours. Calling around.
Yeah, getting someone else. That's true. Otherwise, you'll end up getting stuck on an island.
It's going to be shot. It's going to We're gonna have to land on a gunnery range. So
well, I went the other way. I went through the first episode in reference to it. So if knowing is half the battle, the other half is letting your friend get beat up instead of you.
I think that's a Magnum trait.
Oh man, guys, it's been a blast talking with you.
Yes.
Yeah, very much.
What do you want to plug?
Go ahead, Todd.
Oh, well, Christmas Clatter podcast. Find it anywhere you get your podcast. Christmasclatter.com. It's the beginning of the year. I've been out of the loop a little bit, getting some things taken care of. Work's been a little crazy, like I said before, but here in a week or so, we will be back full guns blazing, so to speak.
Yay.
And
Right on.
we got Merry Melee 3 on the way shortly. So.
Cool.
Right on. Michael?
I'm just going to plug my blog, The Wonderful World of Nothing.
Right on. And podcast soon to come on episodes of The Muppet Show.
I hope. I hope.
Definitely looking forward to that one. Oh, man. Guys, thanks again for joining me on this one. And say hi to the Saturday Morning Mafia for me.
Definitely.
Yeah. Podcast soon to come, maybe. I don't know.
I would like that very much.
Me too.
Yeah,
But,
me three.
Well, on that note, I'll end it by saying Merry Christmas, Higgins. And check us out on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you're feeling like Magnum, dressed like Santa, leave us a review on iTunes. Not only does it help us reach more people, but you also get a free sticker. And don't forget to vote. Later, dudes.
Morning, sister.
Good morning, sir.
Guns don't work on Sunday.
Hello, this is Todd Killian from the Christmas Clatter podcast. What makes Christmas special to you? Is it the movies or the music, the food or family, the gifts or decorations? Maybe those quiet moments of reflection. Whatever it is, join me for Christmas Clatter, a monthly podcast dedicated to everything that makes Christmas special. Visit ChristmasClatter.com for all social media links and find Christmas Clatter podcast on all podcast apps. Thank you, and remember, keep Christmas hope alive every day.